What is up, hammerheads? Welcome back to the forge. Today we're forging a horseshoe knife. Stay tuned. Alright guys, before we get started in the video, don't forget to check out my sponsors and my affiliate links. There is christianbooks.com, Sportsman's Guide, and Power Director. Again, Power Director is what I use to do all of my video editing with the cool transitions, and I can do some really neat stuff now since they have the AI feature. Also, my Etsy shop is on there where this knife will be, and the meat turner will also be on there. And I sold the railroad spike knife on my Whatnot account. Speaking of Whatnot, Whatnot has an incentive that whenever you guys click the link in the description, you will get some money given to you to help with your first purchase. It might not be covering the whole thing, but it'll at least help you get some stuff. Also, when you click the link and you make your first purchase, it gives me a little bit of a kickback too, which helps me keep doing everything I'm doing. It doesn't affect you at all, guys, but it's something Whatnot does to help its affiliates out. Also, if you would like to become a seller on there, I can put a seller link there also, which gives you a little bit better incentive too. So, guys, check out those links, and when you support my sponsors and my affiliates, you also support me, guys. Thank you. Alright guys, before we get going, I want to talk about horseshoes for a second. As you can see, I got 3 different horseshoes laying here, and they're all different. This one has a deeper groove for your nails to sit in. This one is flat right through here with smaller grooves, and again, this one's a little bit smaller and has this section here where there is no groove or indentation or whatever. I don't know the technical term. So I prefer these whenever I'm making a horseshoe knife. Anyone that's like this, because I have a good flat area where I'm not worried about getting a cold shut like I could develop from one of these. I like using these for making the horseshoe fish because the grooves give it, or the indentation or the groove here gives it more dimension and gives you a little bit more 3D effect on them. There's tons more. I just wanted to show a couple that I have. Every horseshoe that I have is different. They're different sizes, they're different shapes, and the pattern on how it's made is different depending on what it was used for. So when you're looking for your horseshoes for making this project, like I said, I always look for one that has this center section right here where there's nothing going on, where I can split it in the middle and I got enough room to draw out a couple small blades on 2 of them. Alright guys, I'm going to cut this about in half. Stop and check so you make sure you don't get off path, because if it starts jumping, you'll make a spot where there's going to be a cold shut and it'll crack on you. See where it's right now about to cut through? Just break that off. Now, you're gonna have a little burr right here. Go take it to a file and clean that up where it's a little flatter, okay? So that's what I'm gonna go do now, is just clean this up with a file. Alright guys, I'm going to open this up a little bit just so it's easier to work on, but I still want to keep that curvature shape. This is a really simple project, guys. Really good for market or fair demos. I'm just starting to shape out what the blades or the blade and the point's going to look like. Now you're not going to have a super long blade with these. If you cut them off a little bit longer, you can get a little bit more blade out of it. But again, these aren't high carbon steel, so you're not going to be doing a sharp edge on it anyways. I just clean them up with a file and give them a really nice look. But we have a decent amount of material here, so we're going to draw it out a little bit more. So now I'm starting to forge in my bevel. Remember, that's just angling a little bit close to your edge to give it that little bit of a bevel. So I'm gonna take this over and start hot filing this to shape it into a little bit more of the knife shape that I'm looking for. Get yourself a good rasp, guys. You can pick these up from farriers that are used for doing hot filing and hot rasping. I'm doing it this way just so you know, even if you don't have a sander or a fancy sander or anything like that, you can still make some really nice stuff. As you notice, guys, I'm just pulling this towards me. I'm not going like this. Some files you can go back and forth with. This one is just one direction. I'm just shaping out how I want the point to be. You can see the colors coming through it too. That's just your oxidation colors, guys. I'm not going to temper this. I'll still quench it in oil because I like the way it looks, but it doesn't harden it or anything. Now I'm just filing in my edge, guys. And like I said, I don't put a sharp edge on these, but I do something little. It gives that kind of that false edge look. And a lot of times with these, I'll put the bevel just on one side because it's so flat on the other. So whenever it's displayed, you see all the work that's been done, and on the back it just stays plain. So that's it basically, guys. Very simple horseshoe knife. Now I'm gonna go ahead and stamp my my touch mark in the back and do just a little bit of cleanup on it with a file. But that's it, guys. Super basic and a really quick, easy project that people will think is really cool. All right, guys, let's get real for a minute and talk about what we learned today. So we forged our horseshoe knife. Now, one thing you need to watch out for when you're forging these is once you cut it in half is that burr. That burr will cause a cold shut right here on the end, and your blade can crack or break. And when I say it breaks, it's not gonna break right here at the tip most of the time. It's normally gonna break back a little bit more. So pay attention to that. If you notice a cold shut forming, then y'all remember what a cold shut is. It's where the material, whenever the material will quilt over on itself or leave a void instead of forging, and it makes a crack. And it'll open up or it'll break off. So saving yourself a lot of headache, make sure you clean up your material before you start forging. Now these are really simple items to forge, guys. This did not take us but probably, 10 minutes to forge it. If I wasn't filming, it would have probably really have only taken me about 10 minutes to do the whole thing. So the faster you get with them, the more you can produce. So really easy project, really fun project. And I'm going to talk more about setting up at markets and demoing them here in just a second. But I want to talk about something real quick so you pay attention whenever you're getting these. A lot of times you will get horseshoes and they will have a nail in them from where they were on the horse. This is actually one of the more mild ones. I've had them where they've been completely full of nails. They'll be rusted off, and they're a pain to get out. So heat the whole horseshoe up till it's red. And a lot of times these will fall right out. You don't want to keep them in there. Unless you grind them off and weld them in, they're going to fall out anyways as soon as you start forging. And then you've got pieces of metal falling at you that are glowing hot. So you want to be careful. When you cut it, guys, leave yourself enough space on both horseshoes so you can make two. Unless you have a project you can do with the other side, or you have enough mass right through here to forge out an extra knife. Okay, and a lot of horseshoes, if I can find one. Yeah. Well, similar to this one, a lot of times won't give you a ton of mass on the other side to be able to forge out another blade. A lot of them do, and that one wasn't my best example. I have some where the nail holes go a lot further down, and you don't have a lot of mass to be able to forge another blade on that side. So pay attention when you make your cut. If you want a bigger blade and you don't mind having the waste or having to figure out another project for that little piece, then by all means make the blade as big as you like. Again, they are mild steel, so it is not going to hold the edge even if you sharpen it. Why not forge even through this in the comments of the railroad spike, but it's the same thing with these, or the railroad spike knife, but it's the same with these, it's pretty much a glorified letter opener. They're very nice, they're very pokey, but they don't hold an edge well. But they do work well for opening letters, and they look really nice as a display item. So, setting up at fairs and festivals. Great demo item for when you're setting up at fairs and festivals. You can have some of these already pre-cut and sanded where the burr is before you get there. Sorry guys, I seen a bird fly up and I thought it was coming at me. Anyways, but before you go, you can have all that prepped, and all you gotta do is just pull one out of the bucket, heat it up, hammer out a blade. If you have a vise there, you can file on it, clean it up a little bit more. If not, take your time with your hammering and just get it shaped out where it looks really good, and then you could just sell it as it is. I always try to keep a little bit of oil with me in a smaller container that I can dip these in or dip other things in to give it that black coating, or you could wax coat it and just put a real thin layer of wax on it, okay? So, really nice demo project and really great selling item. So before we end this out, I want to talk about setting up your table, because we have quite a bit of things that we've made over the last year getting ready for the markets, because the market season is now upon us. So if everything I make, except for a few items, I make 10 of. If I make fire steels, I make 10. If I make cross necklaces, I make 10. If I make arrowheads, I make 10. If I make horseshoe knives, I make 10. Fish, 10. Okay? The reason why is it's fast math. And I also know if I have 10 of them, then I know how much money I've made off each if I sell out without me having to sit there and really figure it up a ton. So, a couple of things that I do. Everything I sell is in $5 increments. Nothing is below $5 unless it's something kind of weird, like somebody wants a nail or something, and then it's like $5,000 if you want a nail from me, because y'all know I hate making nails. But unless it's something really weird that is just like a 2-second thing, everything is $5. So S or J hooks, for example, $5. Horseshoe knife, they start at 15. Railroad spike knife, they start at 20. You know, the fish start at 15. You know, and you price it however you want to price it, but I do $5 increments. So if I sell 3 or 4 items, I don't have to sit there fiddling with math. It's just boom, boom, boom. This is how much it is. If you start pricing stuff at like $11.50, $11.95, $12.13, all that stuff, you know, you're going to be sitting there with a calculator having to fiddle with it. Now, if you have to do taxes because you have turned this into a business, you do everything right the way you're supposed to. But just wanted to throw that out there. I try to keep everything really simplified because when it gets busy at a market, it gets busy. So back to setting up your table. Make a note of this. I'm going to talk about it a little slow so I know you can keep up, but you can always rewind. Again, you're going to make 10 of everything. You need to have 10 railroad spike knives, 10 horseshoe knives. You need to have 10 horseshoe fish. So right there, you've got 30 items. You need an average of about 100 items on your table or brought with you for a weekend, especially if you're going to be busy, okay? You need to have 10 bottle openers. Now, you can do the fancy bottle openers or the regular bottle openers, you know, just the basic ones, either one. But I would have 10 of those. So now you're up to 40. I would do 10 stake turners, different lengths, and I would do 10 matchstick holders, also different lengths. Some shorter ones, some a little bit longer, but don't go crazy with it, okay? Now, these next ones I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to make 20 of, but it's going to be keychain and necklace, okay? So you're going to need to do 10 keychains of leaves and 10 keychains of leaf necklaces. And also 10 keychains of crosses and 10 keychains of cross necklaces. So right there you have well over 100 items. I lost count. So let's go back through it. Horseshoe knives, railroad spike knives, horseshoe fish, bottle openers, meat turners, matchstick holders, leaf necklace, leaf keychain, cross necklace, cross keychain. In those 10 sets of items, you now have 100 items on your table or with you. Now, you have all of your bread and butter items made. Now, one other thing, the next thing I'm going to talk about is going to be your little bit bigger items, whether they're bigger priced or they take up a little bit more room. Okay? So, your spiral candle holders, and bring a candle. You can go to a Dollar Tree or somewheres and bring a candle that goes with it. Okay? Also, back to matchstick holders, buy you a cheap mason jar style candle and bring you some matches and sit there and just light that bad boy and show how it works. And then talk about all the things you can use a matchstick holder for, like lighting campfires or propane grills, things like that. You want to be able to talk about all the stuff that you can sell. All right. Back to the other thing. I apologize. Any knives you make, anything like hot dog forks, which is going to be in the next video because I want to do another video on the hot dog fork. But hot dog forks, You know, anything that was not necessarily, I call big items, they're either big in price so you don't make as many, or they're big in space that they take up on the table and you don't make as many. But the knives you're going to make bigger profit, you're going to make a bigger profit off of, so they're higher end, but you're going to sell a ton of the other items, your bread and butter items. So you want a mix of everything and know about your products, know how to take care of things. Like the meat turners, you can tell people, treat it like you treat your cast iron. Heat it up, hit it with a brush, and put a little bit of oil on them. Let them know that the handle could get warm when they're doing that. Know how to talk to people and really get in there and tell them, this is how you take care of this, this is how this works. And people really get into knowing these things and get excited that you know it. Don't need to get it. You need to know your products and what you're selling. I talked about this before on how to sell in that video. If you want to go back and watch it, you can. I'll leave a link if I remember. Again, sorry I forgot to put the links in the last video. They're there now. But go through and really learn your products and learn how to talk about them. And be confident. Again, be very confident in what you have. You're going to have people walk up and go, you want $15 for that? I'll give you $5. And say, no. And if they're like, well, why not? Go, you make one. You're not being mean, but you are selling something a lot of other people cannot make or wouldn't even understand how to make it. And be very confident in that. You don't have to be, you know, a jerk about it or anything, but you can be very confident that you are a capable blacksmith and you're a capable craftsman. So they need to respect that and respect what you do. So, guys, I hope this video helped you out on some stuff. I know it was a short video, but I pray that you guys have an awesome market season. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video as quick as it was. But I will see you on the next one. God bless. Keep hammering.